we've all been there, right? Staring at something we know we shouldn't even think about touching, like that last slice of cake in the fridge. Or hitting that buy now button even though your bank account's gonna scream. But what about temptations with consequences bigger than a sugar rush or an overdraft fee? What about the kind that could topple empires? Or, yikes, even unravel reality itself?
Now you're talking my language.
Well, that's what we're diving into today, this divine temptations tier list. And let me tell you, it gets pretty wild. Think of it as a cosmic wanking of, oops, shouldn't have done that moments, from ancient myths to, well, let's just say some pretty mind-bending stuff.
Yeah, it's a real trip. We start with these relatable human moments like, ooh, that cookie looks good. And then, bam, we're in this cosmic landscape questioning the very nature of, like, choice, desire, the whole shebang.
So this tier list, it's not messing around. It starts at C tier for, like, those almost innocent slip-ups, then climbs to A tier where things get seriously spiritually challenging. And that's not even the half of it.
Oh no, we're just getting started.
Right, we've got S tier, S+, there's even a beyond broken tier, which honestly I'm kind of terrified to even get to.
I don't blame you. It's like, what could even tempt you at that level? We'll get there, don't worry. But for now, let's start a little closer to home.
Okay, back to familiar territory then.
Think about Eve and that apple. Classic C tier, pure curiosity. It's that age-old desire that I just have to know feeling.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but it's definitely gotten me into some interesting situations.
Right. But then you throw in the whole fall of man thing, and suddenly those harmless little temptations, they seem a lot more loaded.
It's true. It really makes you think. Are those little everyday choices where the real danger lies? Like, are we unknowingly setting off some cosmic chain reaction with our seemingly small actions?
You hit the nail on the head. One little transgression can spiral out, have huge implications. Like, think about it. For one of an apple, paradise lost. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But it really makes you consider, like, the weight of our choices, even the ones that seem tiny at the time.
It really is. Almost makes you want to meditate on every decision, no matter how small.
Maybe don't overthink every choice.
Right. Okay, so maybe not every choice, but still.
Yeah.
It makes you think. Speaking of not resisting temptation, let's talk about Icarus flying too close to the sun. Also C tier. But this time, it's the desire for power pushing boundaries. Sometimes, just because you can.
It's like that classic line, if you could, would you? And sometimes, the answer should be a hard no.
For Icarus, it definitely should have been.
Totally. It's classic ambition, but with some really rough consequences. Icarus, with his wax wings, yearning for the heavens, reminds us that even when we mean well, going too far, well, it can have some serious downsides.
It's a good thing he wasn't inventing airplanes, that's all I can say. But, speaking of big ambitions, what about those figures who are actually trying to help humanity? Take Prometheus, our resident fire stealer, also hanging out in C tier. He was trying to do good, right? Bringing fire to mankind, sharing knowledge, that's a pretty pro-social act.
Right, and that's where the whole good intentions thing gets really thorny. Prometheus defies the gods, but he's doing it for us, supposedly making things better for mankind. So it makes you wonder, is disobedience always wrong if the motivation is pure? And even more importantly, who decides what's right when it comes to these huge cosmic rules?
Yeah, talk about a philosophical debate. But even with the best intentions, look what happened. He ends up chained to a rock, eagle pecking out his liver daily. Talk about a tough Tuesday. So maybe not the best look for Team Humanity, but it really does raise this whole question of inner conflict, right? That struggle between what we want to do and what we feel we should do. Which conveniently brings us to B tier, where things get even more complex.
Buckle up, because B tier is a wild ride.
We're talking Faust, Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita, Narcissus, all wrestling with these huge inner battles.
These B-tier temptations really put that battle between our desires and values front and center, no doubt. Take Faust, right? The guy makes a deal with the devil for knowledge and power. Talk about a bad bargain.
Sid, let's be real. Haven't we all been tempted to bend the rules a little, maybe compromise our values just a tad to get what we want? Oh, absolutely. Maybe not sell your soul to the devil levels, but those little compromises, the ends justify the means moments, we've all been there.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating. Even these larger-than-life myths tap into something so deeply human within us. Like, we're holding up a mirror, showing us our own struggles on a grander, more mythical scale.
Like, these ancient stories are still relevant today.
Totally. They're timeless.
And speaking of timeless dilemmas, what about Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita? Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. This guy's about to go into battle, and he realizes he's fighting his own family.
Oh, man, that's rough. And it's not just the physical battle that's terrifying, right? It's that internal struggle. Does he follow his heart, even if it means going against his duty? Or does he fulfill his dharma, knowing it's going to cause immense pain and loss? It's a true moral crossroads.
It's heavy stuff. These B-tier examples really make you think about the ripple effect of our choices, even the ones that seem small at the time.
You're right about that.
But let's move on to those A-tier temptations, the ones that have me wondering if it's even fair to call them temptations when they're coming from beings of, like, infinite power. Lucifer's fall from grace, the illusions of Maya. We're wading into some heavy spiritual territory here.
We are, and it's fascinating because these temptations operate on a whole other level. We're not just talking about individual choices anymore. This is about the very fabric of spiritual order, cosmic balance, Like, take Lucifer, for example. His pride, his desire to be like God, it led to his downfall and arguably to the presence of evil itself in the world. Talk about high stakes.
No kidding. And then we've got Maya, the concept of illusion in some Eastern traditions. This constant temptation to get caught up in the material world, chasing after things that ultimately don't matter.
It's so relatable, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all get caught up in the rat race, chasing wealth, status, or that perfect Instagram post, and we lose sight of what truly matters.
Oh, totally. I am definitely guilty of that one.
It's like we're all chasing after mirages, never quite quenching our thirst.
Okay, so we've gone from a forbidden apple to the very nature of reality being an illusion. What could possibly be next on this cosmic game show of temptation?
Well, hold on tight, because things are about to get seriously weird.
Weird, huh? Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
We're blasting off to S tier, my friend, where myth and reality get all blurry like you wouldn't believe.
S tier? Huh. Sounds intense. What's the deal with this level? Are we talking about, like, time travel, outsmarting death, talking to ghosts? Give me the good stuff.
Think of it more like this. What if the ultimate temptation wasn't about breaking the rules, but more like finding those little loopholes you could exploit?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
We're talking about pushing those boundaries, like
Yeah.
fate, destiny, even the natural order of things.
Okay, color me intrigued. But give me an example. What kind of cosmic gamble are we talking about here?
Let's start with Odysseus. Epic journey home, battles Cyclops, resists those tempting sirens.
Oh yeah, classic Odysseus.
But what's really interesting about his story is how much time he spends getting sidetracked, and often thanks to the gods themselves.
So it's not just bad luck. The dude was practically set up to fail.
You got it. And that's why it still resonates with us today. Like,
Yeah.
how much of our lives is really in our control? Odysseus, he rails against the gods, tries to forge his own path, but more often than not, it backfires spectacularly.
Well, if I were stuck on a ship for 10 years eating nothing but hardtack and dodging sea monsters, I'd probably be yelling at Zeus too. But yeah, talk about a temptation with some lasting consequences. Though I guess trying to outsmart the gods is a bit more relatable than, say, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane facing down, his impending crucifixion. That's a whole other level of temptation, right?
Absolutely. We're moving into a whole different arena here.
Yeah.
This isn't about power struggles or clever tricks. This is about the temptation to avoid suffering, even when deep down it might be part of something bigger than yourself. Think about that internal battle, that human desire to choose comfort, to escape from pain, versus accepting a difficult path, trusting that there's something beyond the struggle.
Yeah, choosing the harder path, especially when facing that kind of pain, that takes a certain strength. Honestly, it's hard to even fathom.
True, but on a smaller scale, don't we all have those moments where we have to make a difficult choice, knowing it might lead to hardship, but believing there's something greater on the other side?
Okay, so even S-tier temptations have a way of connecting back to our own lives.
They always do. They remind us that we're all human, dealing with these big questions, even if the scale is different.
Speaking of big questions, how about Orpheus trying to bring his beloved Eurydice back from the underworld? That's either true love or a serious obsession with death-defying encores.
Why not both? Orpheus's tale, it reminds us of those boundaries between the living and the dead, right? But it's also about that allure of the forbidden, that temptation to rewrite the natural order, fueled by love and grease.
And you can't forget about that one crucial instruction from Hades. Don't look back. Talk about setting someone up for failure. It's like the ultimate test of trust and self-control. And poor Orpheus, he just can't resist. He has to look.
It gets you every time. And in that moment, Orpheus, he reminds us of that delicate, often heartbreaking balance between desire and acceptance. Sometimes the greatest act of love, the hardest choice, is letting go.
Wow, deep stuff. But we're not done yet, are we? this Divine Temptations tier list. It's got a few more surprises up its sleeve. We're about to enter S+ territory. And from what I'm gathering, this is where things go full-on mythological meltdown.
You're not wrong. Buckle up, because we're talking Gilgamesh seeking immortality, Kronos trying to outsmart time itself, and of course Pandora opening that infamous box.
Suddenly, that apple in the Garden of Eden feels, I don't know, kind of quaint. What sets this tier apart? Why are these temptations so, well, plus?
Because now it's not just about defying the rules, it's about challenging the very foundations of existence.
Existential stakes, oh boy.
Exactly. Take Gilgamesh, for instance. He embodies that very human desire, that yearning for eternal life, to cheat death, to exist outside the natural order. It's a quest that's captivated humanity for centuries.
And yet, spoiler alert, it doesn't exactly pan out for him. Even after finding a guy who survived a flood and achieved immortality, Gilgamesh still can't crack the code for himself. It's like the universe itself is saying, nope, not gonna happen.
Right. It's like there are some things that are just beyond human reach. That there's a certain hubris in thinking we can control everything, even death itself. And then there's Kronos, who takes this whole control issue to a whole new level. A slightly disturbing level, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Kronos, the guy who decided the best way to keep his kids from overthrowing him was to just eat them.
Talk about a dysfunctional family dinner.
Right. But Kronos' story, it's a cautionary tale about trying to control the uncontrollable. He tries to cheat time, to rewrite his own destiny, and it backfires spectacularly. It's a good reminder that even a titan can't escape time's clutches.
Nope. Time comes for us all. Indeed it does.
And then, of course, we have Pandora, who just couldn't resist opening that box, unleashing chaos upon the world. Talk about curiosity killing the cat, huh?
Well, in this case, it's less about killing the cat and more like unleashing a whole Pandora's box of misery on everyone. But it's a powerful metaphor, right? Even with the best intentions, our choices have these ripple effects, these unintended consequences we just can't foresee.
It's the butterfly effect on a cosmic scale. Okay, so we've covered some serious ground here. We've gone from subtle nudges to break the rules to actually trying to rewrite the cosmos.
It's been a wild ride.
So what could possibly top all of that? What fresh hell awaits in these final ominous-sounding tiers? The broken tier, and even more unsettling, the beyond broken tier. I'm almost scared to ask. Honestly, just hearing those names, broken tier, beyond broken tier, it's kind of giving me the chills. Like, what kind of cosmic horrors are we about to unearth?
Yeah, it's like peeking into the abyss, right?
Yeah.
And, you probably shouldn't, but there's that irresistible pull. But be warned, dear listener, because we're about to step into some serious cosmic horror territory here. We've left those everyday temptations in the dust.
So no more stolen apples or impulsive wishes.
Oh, we're way past that. We're talking about the kind of stuff that makes you question if any of this is even real or if we're just figments of some cosmic nightmare.
All right, you've officially freaked me out now, but lay it on me. We've covered defying time, cheating death, unleashing chaos. What could possibly top all of that?
Well, in the broken tier, it's not about topping those things, but almost like transcending them entirely. Imagine temptations so profound, so far beyond our little human minds can even grasp, that they barely even feel like choices anymore.
Okay, now you've piqued my curiosity. What kind of temptations are we talking about here?
Let's talk about Nyarlathotep. He's from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, if you're familiar.
Oh yeah, Lovecraft. Not exactly known for his cheerful disposition.
Not exactly. Anyway, Nyarlathotep, this being, it's not just powerful, but it's like chaos embodied. It delights in driving mortals mad by giving them glimpses of forbidden knowledge. The whole be careful what you wish for thing taken to a cosmic extreme.
So not just a cosmic lottery ticket, but one that comes with a guaranteed mental breakdown. Sounds fun.
Sign me up, right? But then there's Kali, the Hindu goddess of destruction. Now, before you get the wrong idea, she's not some evil deity, but she represents this primal force of creation and annihilation, but on a universal scale. It makes our little human dramas seem pretty insignificant.
Yeah, no kidding. We're talking about forces that could wipe the slate clean.
Exactly. And that's the temptation here, is not just destruction for its own sake, but the allure of being part of this cosmic renewal, even if it means hitting the reset button on, well, everything.
Yikes, that's a pretty big button to push. And speaking of cosmic resets, we can't forget Ragnarok, the end of days in Norse mythology, orchestrated by none other than Loki, that ultimate trickster.
Ah, Loki. Never a dull moment with him around.
That's for sure. But what's so fascinating is his motivation. Is it malice? Boredom? Or just some grand cosmic joke?
Who knows? And that's what makes him and the temptations he represents so unsettling.
Because you never know what's real, what's a trick.
Exactly. In the broken tier, even the reasons behind the temptations become harder to grasp. It's like trying to understand the motives of a hurricane. There's just this vast, indifferent power at play.
Okay, so in the broken tier, things are, well, breaking down, both literally and figuratively. But we're not quite done yet, are we? There's still the beyond broken tier looming over us, and I don't even know what to expect at this point.
Picture this: a temptation so profound, so fundamentally disruptive, that it threatens to not just break reality, but to dissolve it entirely.
Dissolve reality. Okay, now I'm really nervous. So what could possibly drive someone or something to want to unravel the fabric of existence?
Let's talk about Azathoth, another Lovecraftian entity. This being is so vast, so alien, that reality itself is basically just a dream to it.
So if Azathoth wakes up, does that mean we all just disappear?
Something like that. But that's the terrifying part, isn't it? We just don't know. And that unknowability, that sense of cosmic insignificance, it can be strangely alluring.
I guess when you put it that way, it's almost understandable in a terrifying existential sort of way.
Exactly. And in a way, the beyond broken tier, it's almost like a return to those very human temptations we started with, that longing for comfort, for escape, even if it means ignoring the consequences, even if those consequences are, well, everything.
From a forbidden apple to the potential end of, well, existence itself. That's quite a journey we've taken.
That's the Divine Temptations tier list for you. It takes you from the mundane to the mind-blowing. It makes you realize that those ancient stories, those myths and legends, they're not just stories, they're reflections of our own deepest desires and anxieties.
They're warnings and maybe even glimpses of possibilities.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating.
It's been quite a ride through the tiers of temptation, from those relatable little slip-ups to the mind-bending possibility of unraveling reality itself. We've explored the choices of gods and monsters, heroes and tricksters, and maybe even discovered a few things about our own human nature along the way.
And that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah.
Exploring those big questions, those timeless dilemmas that continue to fascinate and haunt us.
Exactly. So until next time, keep exploring those myths, keep asking those tough questions, and whatever you do, try not to unravel the very fabric of reality. We kind of need that.